So Trump and China finally have a trade agreement, and there are many more trade agreements to come as Bitcoin continues to hold above a crucial support level. In yesterday's video, we talked about Ethereum potentially looking to break out, and that is exactly what happened. So in today's video, we'll be covering this. We'll also be going over what happened with the recent trade deals, and we'll be talking about the next potential move in the market. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So first off, as we discussed in yesterday's video, Ethereum was poised for a breakout, continuing to flirt with the high. As you can see, we did get the confirmed breakout. Nice daily close yesterday, and now on the day, it looks like we want to move much higher. Now, if you didn't enter that trade and at this point you're still looking for an entry for Ethereum, I would personally be waiting until we can hopefully touch this level and hold it as support, which is the top of this month-long range. The thing here, though, that you do need to consider is that because we've been consolidating for literally a month, there is a chance that Ethereum could just continue to rip higher. That is especially if Bitcoin behaves. And if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart here, we can see that we are really trying hard to hold the previous all-time high, which was set during inauguration, as support. So if we can hold that level, Bitcoin looks like it wants to move higher and actually set a new all-time high. This would be your key level to pay attention to. If we start breaking below here and it starts acting as resistance as we saw in the hourly time frame before we set this candle over here, then of course it is highly likely that Bitcoin goes and at the bare minimum retests this area in the fair value gap. But for now, at the time of recording this video, so long as we can hold above 109.5K, it is looking very solid for Bitcoin. And the members in my community made a lot of money on this Bitcoin breakout. As we can see here, this was the trade that I personally entered. We made around $30,000 entering and longing that breakout. Now, the reason we entered that trade is quite simple actually. So if we go back here and look at some of the analysis, basically we were flirting with the daily naked point of control, and if we were to break above this level, that's what triggered the long for Bitcoin, targeting above $110,000, which was our second take profit on this trade. As you can see here, it was actually identified by our analyst, but ultimately it was an excellent trade. If you want to join this community, you have the first link in my description down below. This will bring you into a general community, and all you have to do is message me the word signals, and I will be adding you into this group so long as you've signed up with one of my affiliate exchange links and made a minimum deposit. That is the requirement to join this group. It is completely free. All I ask is that you sign up with one of my exchange links and you transfer your funds over to that account so you can start trading as you normally would. Again, the first link in my description down below. Now back to the Bitcoin chart here. I just want to keep it extremely simple. So long as we continue to hold above 109.5K, it is looking extremely positive for Bitcoin, and we could be climbing up higher, setting a new all-time high. However, the moment we start breaking below here and we get those daily closes below this level, that is when you need to be cautious if you're longing Bitcoin. One thing though that I am noticing on the charts is that we are seeing more and more longs enter the market as Bitcoin continues to consolidate up here. And as Bitcoin continues to consolidate, we should be also talking about USDT dominance, because we covered this on the channel, I believe it was a week ago, just tracking how it's progressing. And we did break down from this trend line, which is extremely bullish for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. As we can see here, this trend line is super important because it's been holding since all the way back in October 2017. And every single time that we break below this level, we get a lot of bullishness for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. And overall, when USDT dominance comes crashing down, that is when we get those tops in the market. When Bitcoin went as high as $74,000 in March of 2024, that was the top, and we held this level as support. And this wick over here actually coincided with the 74.5K local bottom. If you've been watching the channel, you know that I've covered this at length before. Overall, what you want to look for here is if we hold this level as support, which it doesn't look likely at the time of recording this video, then that would probably mark a local top for Bitcoin. However, right now, as we break below this level, if we go all the way down to the 4% level, that would mark the local top. Now, this could bring us a lot higher, so pay attention to this chart. And of course, if we break through the 4% level, which would be a crazy milestone, then at that point, the crypto market would go absolutely euphoric. But I'm not banking on this. I do think that we can break down from here, but it's highly likely that this 4% level at the very least will be holding. Now, taking a look at the stock market, this is pretty interesting because on the day, it is indeed red, but this is essentially a massive V-shaped recovery. So what else is there to say? The final resistance level at this point is basically all-time highs. And so let's see how this develops, because if the stock market does actually climb past the all-time highs, hold it as support, and continue on up, at that point, you can imagine what would happen with Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market. And no, I'm not going back on my summer thesis. I still think that even if Bitcoin goes ahead and sets a new all-time high, we will be establishing a range during the summer before we make the final true aggressive all-time high. So let's see if this plays out. But right now, things are looking positive for Bitcoin as we continue to try to hold above the previous all-time high around 109.5K. Now let's take another look at Ethereum, because this was an exceptional breakout. We got the confirmation that we talked about in yesterday's video, and if you entered this long, congratulations, because you're likely in significant profits. And because Bitcoin does look like it wants to hold the previous all-time high as support, this is more than enough fuel for Ethereum to go ahead and move on higher. Again, if you're looking for an entry, I would hope that we could come back here and hold it as support for another solid long trade. However, there's a chance that we don't even get this opportunity because of how much it's consolidated over the past month. And the thing that really interests me right now is taking a look at ETH against Bitcoin. We are officially above the bull market support band. What did I tell you? When we get above this level, that is when Ethereum continues to rip much, much higher, and the altcoin market can see some more relief. Now, the question is, can this trend continue? Because I feel like I'm a little scarred based on what happened over the course of this cycle and over the course of the past few years. Every single time that we broke above this level, ETH against Bitcoin came crashing back down. And we even had some pretty aggressive breaks above this level, as we can see over here. We broke above and we weren't able to hold it as support. We broke above and we were not able to hold it as support. That's why I've been saying we need to wait for that confirmation to hold it as support before altcoins finally start to get a little bit of relief. And right here, we are above the level. So let's see if we can maintain this and hold it as support and move higher, or if we will just end up rolling back over and forming that double bottom, which has been my base case. Now, you might be asking, why did we get support at this level in the first place? It's because it coincides exactly with the previous low from 2019. And so these monumental lows can often act as very, very strong support levels. Now, on the topic of Ethereum, there is still a ton of spot ETF inflows, and we have not seen a red day in over a month now. So this is starting to look extremely positive as more and more institutional investors pile into ETH. Now, what I wanted to talk about in this video is actually some more pertinent news on the trade deals, and that is the fact that Trump came out and said the trade deal between the US and China is supposedly done. Our deal with China is done, subject to final approval. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied upfront by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities, which has always been good with me. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs, and China is getting 10%. The relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Of course, Bitcoin got a little bit of relief right around this news, and this actually came out right before the positive CPI read. And if you didn't know, inflation did rise to 2.4%, but the reason why I'm saying it's positive is because the expectation was actually 2.5%. So previously it was 2.3, the consensus was 2.5, and we rose only to 2.4, ultimately positive. And just a quick note regarding the trade deals, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick did say that so many new trade deals are coming. Let's hear.
You guys have set the deadline for early July to have more trade deals. We're expecting more to come. What can you tell us about the progress of any of the ones you're working on? We thought Japan, India were close. We got this framework from the UK, but what else is coming there?
Oh, there are so many coming, but when you've got Scott, Jason, and I spending, 25 hours and locked in a room with the Chinese, we're not really doing the other deals. Yes, our teams are moving them forward, but now we're going to be focused, starting today, we're going to be focused on other deals. We're going to get them done. We're in good shape with lots of countries, but good shape isn't good enough for the United States of America. We want great deals that are fundamental for America. We can get them. We can get them done. We need to open these other countries' markets. Our farmers, our ranchers, our fishermen, they are going to have just a great time. Our machinists, we sell lots of equipment overseas. Boeing always does them.
Anyways, you get the point. It looks like the trade deals are coming along very nicely, which of course can help fuel Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto market higher. So long as we can hold above 109.3 to 109.5K, give or take that region, depending on which exchange you're looking at, that would be ultimately very positive. That previous all-time high set on inauguration day is still pivotal to this day. If we break below here, we will be testing lower levels. It is inevitable in my opinion. So wait for these confirmations. So far, we got one long wick below this level, and now today, as I'm recording this video, we can see that there's still another wick, but we are holding it as support. Ethereum, I mean, it just wants to continue taking off. And if Bitcoin can remain resilient and not shit the bed, Ethereum will be moving much, much higher. And that sums up today's video. Everything is starting to look very, very nice. So long as Bitcoin can hold above the previous all-time high set on inauguration day, Ethereum will likely continue to move much, much higher after we covered it in yesterday's video before it actually broke out. Also, if you'd like to join my free community, it is the first link in my description down below, and I'd be happy to onboard you. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.